moving.
Unlike other big rallies,
Bit earlier at about 7 a.m.
Welcome to #PHVote 2013. Today on Rappler, alleged mastermind Janet Napoles claims she is a scapegoat in the pork barrel scam. Did MRT General Manager Vitangcol resign, or was he fired? And a Chinese ship attacks a Vietnamese fishing boat in disputed territory. Hello, I'm Maria Ressa. Welcome to Rappler, your social news network. The woman at the center of the biggest corruption scandal in recent history in the Philippines denies she is the mastermind. Janet Napoles says she was, quote, a victim of a wrong system in society. In her affidavits, Napoles appealed to the Ombudsman, the Justice Department, and an angry public not to blame her for the scheme. She tries to downplay her liability in the scam, saying she was not the most guilty and that high-ranking officials used her as a scapegoat. The alleged mastermind asks forgiveness from the public, adding, I did not expect that those in high offices in government will betray me after using me. Napoles faces plunder charges for allegedly conniving with lawmakers to divert pork barrel to her fake non-governmental organizations in exchange for kickbacks. Napoles submitted 2 affidavits to the Senate, naming a total of 20 senators, 100 congressmen, and 10 officials of implementing agencies. In her affidavits, Napoles blames the lawmakers who controlled the funds and the implementing agencies. She says she could not be the mastermind because the pork barrel system has been around since the 1990s. Napoles also claims she did not know the scheme was illegal. As proof of her, quote, truthful and wholehearted regret, Napoles says she's ready to testify in any investigation. Senators named in the Napoles affidavits deny working with Janet Napoles, nor even knowing the agents she named. While some issue general denials or refuse to comment, others deny specific details. Senator Gringo Anasan denies having an employee known as Attorney Danny, identified by Napoles as her link to the senator. Senator Bongbong Marcos admits supposed agent Maya Santos was a consultant at the Senate, but says her services were terminated 4 months before the pork barrel scam became public. Senator Lauren Legarda denies dealing with Napoles. She says every single accusation is a, quote, perjured lie, but did not comment on her alleged ties to Santos. Senator Tito Soto refuses to comment on Napoles. He adds, it does not deserve my attention. Senators Manny Villar and Cynthia Villar denied dealing with Napoles nor with her NGOs. A feisty Cynthia Villar also responds to Napoles' claim that she gave campaign funds to her husband for the 2010 elections. The Villar couple traditionally ranked as the richest lawmakers in Congress. Villar says her family had enough savings to finance their campaigns. She adds, do you think Senator Manny Villar needs funds from Napoles? Senator Chis Escudero says Napoles' allegations were wrong, starting with the date she claimed she met him. Senator Coco Pimentel laughed at and questioned the affidavit, while his father, former Senator Nene Pimentel, says his lawyers are preparing to file cases against those, quote, maliciously dragging him into the scandal. Senator Jinggoy Estrada says his mother, Loy Estrada, knew nothing about transactions with Napoles. He adds, my mommy knows nothing about this. I already asked her. She was surprised that she was included in the list. Senator Alan Peter Cayetano dismisses Napoles' affidavit, saying it was full of half-truths and inconsistencies. He also denies receiving campaign funds from her for his 2013 re-election bid. Napoles says she learned how to divert funds to fake NGOs through Budget Secretary Butch Abad. She says, there were people who had a big influence in expanding my knowledge and transactions with government. I learned from Congressman Butch Abad that NGOs or cooperatives are needed to transact with agencies. Abad denies her claims, saying he never dealt with Janet Lim-Napoles in any manner, much less through an agent or a middleman. He says their alleged friendship is, quote, nothing short of ridiculous. A day after Napoles' affidavit was released, President Benigno Aquino says he doubts the credibility of her testimony. Aquino says it's possible Napoles is muddling the issue. He adds, We are open to the possibility that she is just messing up the story. She cannot defend herself, so she is implicating everyone. The president also defends Budget Secretary Butchabad and Agriculture Secretary Proceso Alcala, both implicated. Napoles' affidavit details alleged transactions, including deals she made with 20 former and incumbent senators. But Aquino says of Napoles' strategy, if you can't look good, make everyone else look bad. The Philippine Navy celebrates its 116th anniversary at the Naval Forces West, the station primarily in charge of the West Philippine Sea or the South China Sea. President Aquino says the celebration is meaningful, showing that the Philippines won't back down from its disputes over the South China Sea.
Tunay pong makalugan na sa unang pagkakataon ay dito natin ginaganap ang anibersaryo ng hukbong dagat sa headquarters ng Naval Forces West. Ito po ang pangunahing operational command ng Philippine Navy na nagbabantay at nangangalaga sa West Philippine Sea.
Navy Vice Admiral Jesus Bilan says the president's visit brings him closer to the Navy manning warships in Ulugan Bay and Ayungin Shoal. He says the situation is volatile, adding the menace of various threats to national security and territorial integrity are real and present. China has been increasingly aggressive in the South China Sea, reclaiming land in Mabini Reef and patrolling the Spratly Islands. To boost Manila's case against Beijing, Aquino says the government will present China's clear violations of the Declaration of Conduct to the Arbitral Tribunal, including the airstrip construction on disputed territory. A Chinese ship rams a Vietnamese fishing boat Monday near the contested Paracel Islands, causing the Vietnamese boat to sink. The Vietnamese crew says their boat was encircled by 40 Chinese vessels before the attack. This is the latest incident in increasing hostilities between the two countries over China's deployment of an oil rig to disputed territory. China and Vietnam both claim the Paracel Islands. The deployment of the rig sparks violent protests in Vietnam. Vietnamese Prime Minister Nguyen Thanh Dung earlier said China's actions violate international law and threaten peace and freedom of navigation. Metro Railway Transit 3 General Manager Vitangcol confirms he was fired over allegations of an anomalous deal with an in-law. But in a hearing at the House of Representatives, Vitangcol says he resigned after Transportation Secretary June Abaya issued a special order to relieve him of his duties. Abaya says he ordered an investigation after Philippine Star columnist Jarius Bondoc wrote that Vitangcol awarded a 517.5 million peso service deal to a company reportedly owned by the uncle of his wife. The contract was allegedly awarded without public bidding. In 2013, the Czech ambassador also accused Vitangcol of trying to extort $30 million from a Czech firm in exchange for a contract to supply trains for MRT-3. Vitangcol went on leave following the controversy but returned to office when the issue died down. For the first time in 2 decades, the head of the Catholic Church will visit the Philippines. Pope Francis confirms he plans to visit the Philippines in January 2015. Manila Archbishop Luis Antonio Cardinal Tagle says the Pope wants to visit areas hit by disasters like Super Typhoon Yolanda or Haiyan in November 2013 and the magnitude 7.2 earthquake in the Visayas in October last year. The Pope has long said he wants to visit the Philippines, Asia's most predominantly Catholic country. It's actually Asia's largest predominantly Catholic country. The last time a Pope visited the Philippines was in 1995 when the late John Paul II led World Youth Day in Manila. Malaysia's Aviation Authority releases satellite data on the missing plane that vanished more than 2 months ago. Family members of the 239 people on board MH370 demanded the raw satellite data be made public for independent analysis after an initial undersea search found no wreckage. Officials say the plane went down in the southern Indian Ocean. The 47-page document released Tuesday contains data communication logs between the plane and the satellite system of British company Inmarsat. Let's now look at Rappler's Wrap for today, a list of the 10 most important events around the world you shouldn't miss. At number 6, a top Nigerian military official says he knows the location of the schoolgirls kidnapped last month by the Islamist militant group Boko Haram. But Air Chief Marshal Alex Bade says Nigeria's military won't use force to try to rescue them. State-run News Agency of Nigeria cited him saying, We can't kill our girls in the name of trying to get them back. Boko Haram kidnapped 276 girls last month from a boarding school in northern Nigeria. More than 200 girls are still missing. At number 8, U.S. government documents show celebrity hacker Sabu helped the FBI stop more than 300 cyber attacks in the 3 years he turned informant. CNN reports the work of Hector Monsegur, aka Sabu, helped stop attacks on websites belonging to the U.S. military, NASA, and media companies. A member of Anonymous and Lulzak, Monsegur was part of a group of hacktivists who became notorious in 2011 for breaking U.S. government and corporate websites. He pleaded guilty to charges including identity theft and credit card fraud and faces up to 26 years in prison, but the government is seeking leniency. And at number 9, Facebook takes down a page describing Elliot Rodger, the Isla Vista killer, as an American hero. The page said Rodger made, quote, the ultimate sacrifice in the struggle against feminazi ideology. Many Facebook users reported the page for violating Facebook's rules against harassment, hate speech, and threats of violence. Facebook initially refused to take the page down, but eventually relented. For the full top 10, visit Rappler.com's The Wrap. Every story on Rappler has a mood meter, which gives you 8 emotions to choose from. Click how you feel, and your vote comes down to the mood navigator in the middle of the front page. That crowdsources the mood of the day. It also gives you the top 10 stories that have affected our readers and our viewers the most emotionally. These 10 stories have gotten the most number of votes on their mood meter. If we take a look today, the story we just heard about, Pope confirms Philippine trip in January 2015. Interestingly, a full 91%, nearly 100%, 91% happy. And we have MRT Chief Vitangcol sacked. You have 76% happy. And interestingly, this read 4% angry. That brings out the red in this. Napoles, I'm a victim of system, our top story today. The scapegoat of officials. A whopping 85% angry. The red bringing out the mood of the story that's gotten the most number of votes. Napoles details transactions with 20 senators. 10% happy, 70% angry. That red bringing out the mood of the day. Today, most people are angry. Well, that is Rappler's newscast for today, Tuesday, May 27, 2014. Visit Rappler.com and watch our newscast Monday to Friday. Tell us how you feel on our mood meter and help us crowdsource the mood of the day. I'm Maria Ressa. As we say at Rappler, tomorrow begins today.